This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 9, verses 1 through 6. Verse 1, and it reads, He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself. And when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before, verse 2, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Verse 3, Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, verse 4, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. Verse 5, For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. Verse 6, Even so the times also of the highest have plain beginnings and wonders and powerful works, and endings in effects and signs. Book of Jeremiah, chapter 10, verses 1 and 2. Verse 1, and it reads, Hear ye the word which Yahweh Bashem Yahushai speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Verse 2, Thus saith Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. All praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rahakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well in teaching us this 100% truth. Salutations to them and my fellow Akim who labor in this truth week in and week out on the highways and byways. Also salutations to the hopeful elect of the scattered 12 tribes of Israel, scattered to the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, also known as your Israelite foreigners and your so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. To you, I say Shalom. This is your brother Ayashar Barazar from the Indianapolis branch of the Great Millstone, coming back at you with another lesson that is edifying to the elect body of the nation of Israel. All right, what I want to tackle today is this solar eclipse that we have coming up. And those two opening scriptures, a whole lot is going on. I have a video. There's actually 5 parts I put together. This guy who gets a lot of intel, like the guy from the, I think it's a site is called Full Spectrum. But in any case, a lot of things supposed to be going on today or resulting from what happens today. So, here again, it's his intel, has nothing to do with me, but, those things are out there, and people do have connections. That's how, why it's, Esau's being made bare. He's being exposed 24/7. Their own people are starting to tell on him. All right. So, couple of videos, I'm going to have a video that shows you the solar eclipse in the state that you live in, when it's supposed to start, so on and so forth. That's about a little over a couple of minutes. And then the video of the guy with the intel. All right. But more importantly, those two scriptures, just this last one right here for the heathen, verse Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 2, where it says, Thus saith Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. All right. And, the signs of heavens, you have the moons, blood moons, unusual weather, you can blame Esau and his devices, but who gave him the technology to do that? All right. A lot of strange things. You just had the Statue of Liberty struck by lightning. Okay. You got these uproars of the people all over the place, especially over there in the area that's called the Middle East. You have, you just saw recently the entire UN, pretty much with their silence, letting Benjamin never was a Jew, know that they're not with them, but that remains to be seen. You know how Esau is. He'll do a lot of stuff on the cameras and do other things behind the back. say, yeah, we won't support you, but, sliding them weapons, so on and so forth. All right. But they are shook up, you know, and especially with what Putin did a little over a week ago with the revealing of that vault. But, once again, um, the apostles and the elder bishops have been teaching that, for the longest, and if you just read your Bible and understand it, you didn't need Putin to tell you that, but the Lord will reveal. If he's dealing with you, he's going to reveal that to you. All right. But yeah, this devil is upset about everything. That he can't hide from nothing, being exposed with everything. And I think the straw that broke the camel's back is when the humanitarian aid was um, tactfully and strategically assassinated, taking food um, to those Palestinian people. But nevertheless, hey. It is what it is with them. This is about the elect of Israel and what we need to be watching the signs. He tells us to learn not the way of the heathen. So pretty much, don't continue in the ways of the heathen. Come away from that clown Esau Edom. He's only going to lead you to death. That is his MO. He comes but to kill, steal, and destroy. That's all he does. All right. That is all he does. All right. So you got to, pull up out of it, and watch these things that's going on in the world. You got this eclipse, and, I want to show where there have been two, um, um, actually, within the last 7 years, 2017 to 2024, you had solar eclipses, two total and two annular, within the last 7 years, and that number seven means completion. All right. But at the same time, the way they lined up, you get the first and the last Hebrew alphabet, the Ah and the Tha, the beginning and the end. And with that tha, it's actually got America crossed out. That's not a coincidence, because that's what we're talking about is end time prophecy with Babylon the Great, aka the United States of America. All right, it is definitely coming to an end. However, like I said, this devil is real upset right now with everything that's going on. And once again, that thing that Putin did, that was a huge blow to those Amalekites. You know, because now once again, the average Jake, like they are acting all surprised right now, but some of them are going to start looking deeper, and then realize what we've been saying the whole time from the elder apostles on down, for the last, 30, almost 40 years, been telling the truth, you know, and now, who knows, we think that the elect is sealed right now. It's not for us to say, because it's close. It's real close, because everything is on the table. World War III, the MOTB, you know, um, everything's on the table right now. Martial law, which is what this guy is going to talk about in this video. So, but as Apostle Tahar declared um, during the New Year Eve um, videos, that this year was declared the hopeful year of Jacob's trouble. And I'm going to get that. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 30 and verse 7. And it reads, Alas, meaning which is interchangeable with woe, meaning destruction. For that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. And when Jacob's troubles hit, that's the beginning of 2/3 of our people, the nation of Israel, going to be cut off and die and destroyed. according to Zechariah chapter 13, verses 8 and 9. And when he says Jacob shall be saved out of it, that's the elect of Israel, the 1/3. So you have 2/3 of our people that are going to be destroyed, and 1/3 that are going to be brought through, even though some may be martyrs, for this truth. All right. So yeah, it's about to get real ugly out here. And when it's say Jacob's trouble, you know, Israel is the focal point, but it's going to be a lot of other people receiving judgment too. Like I said, this devil is shook up. He's very upset, pissed off, and about to do some strange things because he's being exposed. 24/7, 365. Since this the year 2024 has started. This is the book of Job, chapter 14 and verse 5. And it reads, seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee, thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. All right. So yeah, Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, your time is almost up. Almost up. And we know you're going to come down with that great wrath, according to Revelation 12 and 12. Let me get that. Book of Revelation, chapter 12 and verse 12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. And yeah, that's the way Esau Edom is. He's ruled ridiculously for the whole time he's been in rulership, beginning with the Greeks to the Romans, and then coming back into power with the revival of the Roman Empire after the Dark Ages were over. Okay, during the Renaissance period. Okay, that's when he came back into power. And now it's coming to a close, and he's he's shook up, seeing these signs in heaven he can't do anything about. He knows that his time is up. Okay, he knows that his time is up. So once again, he's going to come down with great wrath, especially on the nation of Israel, and who are your so-called Latinos, Negroes, Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and the Israelite foreigners that are scattered abroad, all over the world that look like the heathen but are not the heathen because they go back to the seed line of Jacob. All right, he's going to come down with great wrath. And as I said before, some of us, who are in this truth are going to suffer. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 2, verse 10. It's like it. Chapter 2 and verse 10. And it reads, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. So, here we are, at this point. Like I said before, everything is on the table right now. Everything is on the table. All right, the MOTB, martial law, or World War III. Okay, you got the plagues and pestilence, earthquakes. Everything is happening. Everything is happening. All these prophecies are coming true. And for the Jake who can't see it, hey, don't know what else to tell you. It ain't for you. You have to be on his list to be destroyed. And I say that humbly because like the scriptures say, many are called, but few are chosen. And I just hope that I'm of that number that he chooses to be of the elect. All right. But, he's going to come down with great wrath. But he says, be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. How are you faithful unto death? You got to stand these scriptures. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 33 and verse 6. And it reads, "And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and the strength of salvation. The fear of Yahweh Yahushai, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, is his treasure." Okay? That is our treasure, having reverence for the Lord. Okay? And he says, "And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation." That's stability, in those unstable times, we're gonna have peace. All right? It's gonna be scary, but we not won't be bugging out like everybody else is. That's for sure, because we have Yahweh Bashem Yahushai on our side. He said in Isaiah 26:3, chapter 26, verse 3. He says, "Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, because he trusteth in thee." All right. And through those unstable times, we're going to have to trust in Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, you know, from sun up to sundown, all about our ways. We have to meditate on them day and night. All right. Verse 4, "Trust ye in Yahweh Bashem Yahushai forever, for in Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is everlasting strength." All right. All right. And there's that colon right there. So what comes after it substantiates it, what comes before it. Verse 5, "For he bringeth down them that dwell on high, the lofty city, Babylon the Great." All right. "He layeth it low, even to the ground. He bringeth it even to the dust." It's like Yahweh said, there would be no stone on top of the other in Matthew 24. All right. And we know that dust also has a dual meaning of confusion, which, right now, he's going to bring that lofty city low. All right. And that's that proudness. All right. Being extremely proud. But let me go back to that, you know, um, Isaiah 33 and 6. Get another precept for that. Um, Isaiah 33 and 6. All right. "And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation. The fear of Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai, Salakia, is his treasure." Okay. We have to stay rooted in the Lord. As the scriptures say, we draw nigh unto him, he will draw nigh unto us, and keep us at peace. All right. Sirach 11 or Ecclesiasticus 11, and I believe it's 15. God. Okay. And it reads, "Wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the law are of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Love and the way of good works are from him." So what's that good work? Out here on the highways and byways, week in and week out, doing these video epistles, you know, alms to our fellow brethren, that are in need. As the scriptures say, charity covers a multitude of sins. All right. So that's the thing. We want to be blameless when the Lord cracks those clouds. All right. Definitely want to be blameless. All right. Close out with the scriptures here before I get to the videos. This is the Wisdom of Solomon. It's in the Apocrypha 3 and 9. All right. Now, once again, that Jacob in Jeremiah 30 and 7, when he says Jacob shall be saved out of it, and this is backing up Isaiah 33 and 6 and Isaiah 26 and 3 that I just read. Wisdom of Solomon chapter 3 verse 9, and it reads, "They that put their trust in him, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, shall understand the truth, and such as be faithful in love shall abide with him." What is that love? Keeping the commandments. Okay. For grace and mercy is to his saints. Who are the saints? Okay, the children of Israel, according to Psalms 50 and 5 and Psalms 148, verses 13, 14. All right. Um, and he hath care for his elect. Who are his elect? Okay, and that's the 1/3 of Israel, according to Zechariah chapter 13, verse 9. Okay, his elect are only of the nation of Israel, no other nation. All right, so let me get to these pictures. And before we do that, here's the fair use doctrine. Let you see that for about, read that. And then we have the one from medical disclaimer. All right, and coming up is the video, letting you know the times of the solar eclipse in your area. All right. This is the solar eclipses, and like I said, there were four, two total, four within the last 7 years. Okay, two total and two annular, and, and ironically, they form the A, which is the first letter of the Paleo Hebrew alphabet, and then the Tha. All right, which man, you know, that is very telling where we are in prophecy right now. You know, Babylon the Great, aka America, is X'd out. You know, and that's that going back to that Jeremiah 10:2. You know, the heathen are dismayed at the signs of heaven. Esau is shook up, and he knows it. He is shook up. You know, his time is almost up. You know, like I said, and Daniel, you know, the Lord, set up kingdoms whatsoever he will. And right now, the basis of men, which is Esau, Edom, the wicked. You know, he's called the base man in Job 30:8. All right. Children of fools, the base man, the lowest of the social status. Okay. All right. So, but yeah, okay, I'm going to get into this video. But one thing this guy said, you know, he said that when he talks about Homeland Security, he said they've been working for like 2 years. And that's not true. You know, I've been, studying this for a while. Homeland Security between 2008 and 2013 purchased 109 million rounds of ammo. Who's that for? This guy's going to kind of let you know when you get into this video. But let me go ahead and show you where I found that. This is off the GOA, U.S. Government Accountability Office. Department of Homeland Security ammunition purchases have declined since 2009. So I'm just going to go right to where it is here. You know, who are they purchasing this stuff for? All right. Let me see here. Oh, there we go. Try to highlight it. All right. Let's lock you. Says from fiscal years 2008 through 2013, DHS, that's the Department of Homeland Security, purchased an average of 109 million rounds of ammunition for training, qualification, and operational needs, according to DHS data. Okay. Well, once you hear what this guy says in this video, it's going to be, just have to put two and two together. And once again, with this video, this is his intel. Like I said, from the guy with Full Spectrum, they have their sources. I'm just communicating the information as I see it and I apply scriptures to it. So now you can just watch it straight through. All right. So with that, I'm going to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rahakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of great millstone who were well and teaching us this 100% truth. Salutations to them and my fellow Akim who labor in this truth week in and week out on the highways and byways. Also salutations to the hopeful elect of the scattered 12 tribes of Israel, scattered to the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, also known as your Israelite foreigners, and your so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. To you, I say Shalom, Kwam Yasharala. All right, and stay tuned for the video.
The sheriff called me yesterday, and after he got done telling me everything inside this meeting that was happening, I pretty much was nerve rattled after what I heard. But I'm going to tell you what the emergency, what's behind this emergency for the solar eclipse, what's the deeper intel, and not only that, how they want emergency communication systems to be implemented, what specific groups they're going to be targeting. We're about to get into all that right here, and information that I did separate research to try to link up and confirm more on this scenario. So he gets on the phone with me yesterday after they have this meeting, Who was this meeting with? It's with Homeland Security. So, and he said there were New York instructors there. I have a list right here. I took notes of every single thing that he said because I couldn't record his voice. Obviously, he's trying to stay discreet. He said they were focusing on anti-vaccine people, anti-government people, preppers, Trump supporters. He even goes into deeper in the scenario what we're going to get to here in a second. But he said they didn't want the public to have any communication between each other. Any communication at all. And we told you yesterday that sheriff that came out and said it could be a potential terror attack. Well, we got more intel on what could actually happen in the solar eclipse, but just listen to this 23-second clip really quick.
But that's not all that he's concerned about.
That people want to do us harm, use an event like this where a lot of people are gathered to do some type of terror event.
The director of the Lake County Emergency Management Agency told me they've been preparing for the solar eclipse now for about 2 years.
They've been preparing for this for 2 years. Imagine that, for 2 years. That sounds like a lot of preparation going into that. And in the video yesterday, I told you the military is getting into a building that they won the Allied war in World War II, which is Idabel, which you can find that video after this video. But let's get into this right now. So they don't want any communications between us. And what is the big event that they're doing? This is what he told me inside of Homeland Security yesterday they were talking about. He said, during the solar eclipse, while people are all out there looking, they're planning, the intel that they've got is a possible biological attack on people while the solar eclipse is freaking happening. Yes, I just said that, while the solar eclipse is happening. And you're like, okay, well, where are they going to do that? Well, all the people out for the solar eclipse, I'm potentially believing could be targets. Okay, so this is not speculation. This is totally inside information about what they said. And they're talking about how the first responders' mental health, they need to prepare because their mental health is going to be very, very, out of whack after this. So when he told me that they potentially might be doing a biological attack, that's the intel. Who's going to be doing it, I don't know. But however, I looked deeper, and then I seen that 3 weeks ago, none of us was paying attention to the fact that the FBI just had a training drill for a biological attack, and they're getting hospitals ready for it. So I want you to look at this video clip real quick and just look at what we all missed and how this lines up with the agenda.
Staff at multiple local hospitals are now better prepared to handle a potential emergency. The FBI spent time in 3 ERs today in our area, walking doctors, nurses, and other staff through what they could do in case of a bioterrorism disaster. 11 News reporter Elmer Mejia Segastumi is joining me live from Penrose Hospital, one of the locations that participated. An agent with the FBI told you that disasters like these help improve communications, or disaster exercises, I should say, help improve communication among staff and others.
Adam, a hospital official says that these drills are important in keeping the staff on their toes and prepared. They say the staff hospital does numerous drills throughout the years. It helps them determine what needs the hospital may have depending on the situation. Special Agent David Autry says no drill ever goes 100% perfectly, but they consider every drill a success because it helps them identify the things the FBI and hospitals need to improve on. Hospital officials say the disaster scenario was a toxin put in people's milk. The goal was to monitor how departments and agencies communicated with one another.
There's a need for all of us. There's no one single agency that can handle this alone. Again, we handle that law enforcement investigation, the lead from the federal side, but that includes our state and local partners from law enforcement, includes public health. When you look at a W&D event, it's going to require all partners to come together.
The FBI and local hospitals say that after these disaster scenario exercises.
Appreciate that super chat. Now, I have so much more to tell you. But please, while we're live right now, while you're watching this, share this out, more importantly, to your friends, to your family, to all the people that's going to be going to this solar eclipse, so we can potentially avert them getting hit with biological materials that is probably going to be dispersed on crowds when this event happens. That's the inside intel, and there's more intel than that we're finna get to right now. Target list, let's talk about how they're telling law enforcement in this meeting with Homeland Security, they're telling them on the population that, hey, look, we need you to enforce information because during the last pandemic, everything got out of hand. We need you to track their cell phones, which they did in the last pandemic. We need you to basically be in control. And why you think all the communication systems are upgrading? You see all these counties saying, oh, we got to upgrade the communication systems. And then you see where they're having all these meetings and stuff like that for the communication systems. So the reason they don't want any communication between us, because they said how the public was distrusting all of them, how we distrusted them during the ongoing operations of the first pandemic, because we're not just talking about what's happening in the solar eclipse, we're talking about the potential next plan, which he gets into here, and he talks about every single virus they talk about. And when I'm looking here, that's because I got this list. I told you I took notes. I wrote down all this stuff when he was talking to me on his phone call. So the communication basically is the reason why emergency stuff is coming out right now is because we're not going to have communication with each other. They're going to make sure that he said it's only going to be cell phone communication. Like, you're going to get emergency alert. The emergency systems, like I was saying, they're not going to be able to be, like, you're going to have your Faraday bag ready, because the tracking system, somebody says, thank you, sis, Stephen, appreciate you, no problem. So the emergency systems, you need to get your Faraday bags ready, because they're going to be tracking you actively. They're going to be looking into that. They're going to be basically trying as much as possible to get who's on the target list. So the next thing is they talked about a lot of different virus things, virus scenarios. We want to get into that right now. And he was talking about the deer situation, right? The zombie deer thing. He said that was one thing that they said was going to jump to humans, and basically since that's in a lab somewhere, you already know what's going on with that. They're whipping it up and they're going to try to make something jump. He also said that in this meeting with Homeland Security, they were talking about how they were going to be ready to lock people in their houses. And he gave me this map as well. So the map is pretty much, he said, this is public knowledge right here. And this is basically the map here. So whenever environmental supposedly disasters happen, this is the response in all the states, and they call this apple tree map. Interesting. So moving past that, he said the main things inside his homeland. We're back here live with you because we have gotten in our second call from our source, the sheriff that's been our source for at least over 6 months out on the public, but behind scenes we've been talking longer than that. Now we've got the other details inside of the Homeland Security meeting that he went to, and we're really about to break down some stuff, and we also need to think about a defense plan. So this is going to be very important. We're going to have all that in here for you. And the first video I told you anti-government was a target list. Anti-vaccine, preppers, Trump supporters. That was the target list they initiated inside of the meeting. Now this next part, when I asked him more about the biological scenario, he said, I said, so is there any other things that they said in this meeting, day 2? Day 2, he said, and I have my notes here because again, I have to write down what he says, obviously for purposes of sensitivity. He said the day after the eclipse, people might be acting animalistic is what they said inside of the Homeland Security meeting. Hence, we get back to the biological attack. He said they might have to get medical attention if people start acting animalistic. So the behavior we're looking for is people acting animalistic post them dispersing whatever the biological scenario is. What's going on, everybody in the chat? I see you here, and I'm so glad you got out that last video. This one's going to be just as importantly critical because we got more stuff he talked about. That's strange though. Acting animalistic, he also said it could be to do with the biological event, or it could be drugs, but I'm thinking that it's part of the biological event. Now, what else he said? He said that during the solar eclipse, they also said in this Homeland Security meeting, and by the way, this is the meeting I'm talking about right here. Obviously, the dates was from March 14 and 15. I'm giving you the information now from him inside of that meeting. Blurred out some of that information he did for sensitive purposes. So check out the next big part of what I'm about to tell you though. Not only people acting animalistic, but you said during the solar eclipse, they talked about in this meeting, people having seizures and collapsing is a potentiality during the solar eclipse. And I'm like, well, it does sound more like it's biological. I showed you the last video, the FBI was going and they were basically saying like, oh, well, it might be something put in somebody's milk. And they were saying like they were doing biological drills in Colorado. So it gets even stranger from there. We're going to go deeper here into all of this scenario for you. What he said next to me was that only when communications go down, they all have to meet at a central location, and they want FEMA to take over and have law enforcement involved. Which my source, he said he don't trust FEMA at all, and I was like, yeah, I don't trust FEMA either. Now, this next part I gotta tell you is really wild, because like you go into thinking about all the predictive programming they showed us. This is what he said. He said more electrical companies, he went out and asked about this. He's seen the electrical companies, just like some of y'all said y'all seen. Their deadline is April 7th. They're upgrading. He said he talked to contractors. They're upgrading the black tarp and they're putting wires and all these boxes in and stuff like that. Their deadline is April 7th. That lines up before this event perfectly. And another thing that that's really important here that I'm about to tell you, that the martial law part. So when we get into the martial law part, you got to listen to this part, because they talk about going door to door, you know, the vaccine and stuff like that, anti-vax people. But it's not just that. And obviously everybody on the list I mentioned, anti-vaccine, anti-government, prepper, Trump supporter. But when he went into this next part, he said, look, they're going to have some type of a dome that they're going to try to put over populations. Because he said they don't have to use force for martial law. This is what he said. So let's look at the notes I wrote down here. He said they're going to have to set up command centers, and then he said put domes over large populations over multiple areas. I was like, you talking about like a dome over them? Like, you know, a quarantine dome? He was like, yeah. Now, I don't know if he's saying like multiple domes, but he's saying like the technology exists already. I already know it. I looked up multiple different times, and they've showed us in Simpsons predictive programming. They've showed us in a lot of predictive programming in movies that they put a dome for quarantine over a city. The stuff already exists. He said that's what inside this meeting they were freaking talking about. So that sounds like so wild. I know you're like, what? I mean, come on, I can't get behind that. But this is somebody who actually went there. In the beginning of the video, I showed you exactly what the meeting was. Also, I'm going to be talking about how hundreds of thousands of people, they're going to be biologically dispersed upon. This is the supposed scenario, which the military has been doing drills and all this stuff with CBRN, chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear. They're going to be in Oklahoma. Now check this out. In 2017, you know how we're talking about right now, biological scenario? They put bacteria on the solar eclipse balloons. So what is our potential area that these bacteria, the biological stuff, could be coming from? It's definitely the balloons. And we found out information on our own to look into where will these balloons be released, and they have tracking technology on them as well. That's another thing he talked about with communications. He said during the communication, he said only during martial law will people not be able to communicate. They will have FEMA wanting to take over, and FEMA, he said, is dealing with all the training right now for law enforcement and everything else in the disaster scenarios. He said Starlink will be used for law enforcement, not for the public. So obviously Elon Musk is Starlinks, and he said they're going to be surveillance technology, and during the solar eclipse they're going to be looking down at you anyway, because they already have the balloons. They're going to float, and we're going to talk about where they're releasing that, because now people asked me in the last video, hey, well, where's it going to be released? How can we prepare for this? I got you on for real. This is going to be like, if you can do the same thing you did in the last video, you can start sharing it out to family, start sharing it out to friends, because we're against an evil, corrupt empire. And the only way we can basically avert the situation is if we get this information out and we continue to expand upon what we did. I mean, this is what I came to do. This is what the mission is. The statement is against the forces trying to weigh us down. And not only weigh us down, bring us down in the health system, bring down the spiritual system. But the information we have right now is so powerful when you get it out just like you did last time. So next informational piece here. So going into this after all of that I just said, the biological scenarios, we want to go into this right now and what you can do about this and where is it releasing. Check this article out right here where they say, don't panic if you see balloons hovering over America's 2 upcoming solar eclipses. It's a project. NASA is a part of this project, which they're the ones who released the bacteria last time. This time, April 8, 2024, solar eclipse, some balloons will live stream video from the stratosphere 100,000 feet up to NASA Eclipse website using Insta360 cameras, while others will monitor for changes in the atmosphere 115,000 feet. They're monitoring for changes in the atmosphere during the eclipse, obviously because of the effects of the eclipse, but also we don't know if they're going to release it again, release some bacterial, biological stuff from the balloons as well. This is right here, the nationwide eclipse ballooning project is where this is releasing. If you look on screen right now, we're going to tell you locations to release. Maine, Plymouth State University, Goddard Flight Space Center. Where is that at though? You look on the screen right now and you can see exactly where that's at. Most of this is like right in the area where the eclipse is going to be going, just like I told you already. So check this out. How can you prepare? How can you prepare and avert the biological scenario? Because people acting animal.
This is the continuation of part 2, what I'm calling part 3 in the Be Prepared, Not Scared video series about the solar eclipse on April 8th. There's one more video that was just dropped yesterday, and I'll be posting that soon. Sit back and enjoy the rest.
This is right here, the nationwide eclipse ballooning project is where this is releasing. If you look on screen right now, we're going to tell you locations to release. Maine, Plymouth State University, Goddard Flight Space Center. Where is that at though? You look on screen right now and you can see exactly where that's at. Most of this is like right in the area where the eclipse is going to be going, just like I told you already. So check this out. How can you prepare and avert the biological scenario? Because people acting animalistic is just freaking wild. I told you they was talking about the zombie deer disease jumping to humans, Ebola. They're going to be tracking cell phones. And this is their intel on biological attack on the solar eclipse, right? But they're not telling you who's going to do it. So they want to lock you in homes with a freaking dome. And these students here don't freaking know what they're getting themselves into. So like when you look at this and you see these students, this is all the balloons, this is the project, this is everywhere the balloons are going to be released. You now have insight on that. That was the 2017 eclipse, but you take that and then you flip it the other way. The way it's going now. And they then release it into the atmosphere. There's one thing we know of though that averts biological scenarios. So if you have somebody going out there and a lot of you say, hey, I'm just not going to do that. They're shutting down government buildings. They're shutting down schools. They're doing this because this event right here to them is something that on the inside, he said, the sheriff said, he said like, they're going to use the confusion of this event as a pinpoint execution plan to do what they need to do. So while if you're confused about anything, that's why I'm trying to clear that up right now. He also said that the whole martial law scenario that they want to implement doesn't mean it's going to happen obviously on the eclipse, but that is a potential pinpoint they're looking for. If things go wrong, they're going to try to push it back. But in that scenario where it does go down, let's talk about that. Door-to-door vaccine and stuff like that, looking for those people, looking for the anti-government people and all that stuff. He said it's going to be different this time because he said people are going to be resistant. He said this ain't going to be like the last pandemic or the last scenario. He said people are going to be resistant. He already understands that. I was like, yeah, I mean, in all reality, if they do that, people should be resistant in my eyes. So going into the next part here, the effects following days. We're going to be asking you to put all that in the comments here. Just look at people and see what you're seeing after the solar eclipse, if we even have communications. But if we do, just keep putting all the information below. The next thing I want you to know is if you are out there, which I highly don't recommend, but even if you're not out there and you're just going outside, here's what we should do. Here's what I would do. Because I've seen documents on the military before they go into biological scenarios, and I've seen that the Soviet military have went into biological scenarios and they've tested this out over and over again. And I've done this myself. This actually does work for me. So what I would do in this scenario is that colloidal silver, what the troops would do, they would coat their body in the colloidal silver. They would coat all their skin in colloidal silver. And obviously it's going to hit your hair too, probably. I don't know if you should put it in your hair, but I'm just saying all the skin areas is where you should put it. And then you got to think about the nasal passage as well, because colloidal silver is something that is used against biological warfare. And if we're to avert any of this, even by some percentage, that's going to be a huge mechanism before you even, just for that day in general. Like I'm going to do it myself just because we don't know how far it's going to spread, because the people that's going to get hit by it are going to be the biocarriers in this scenario. So you think in 2017 they released bacteria during their solar eclipse, and you think it's not going to happen in another? That was probably just a test phase for what they're planning to do next. Wouldn't you think that would be a test phase? But I just think we have much more power, much more ability, and much more of a sound mind right now to understand how much this is. And on that day, we need a global prayer. We need people to pray against the dark forces. We also need to be prepared for these events. We need to have our community ready, the people that's deep in heart understanding what we're going through. And that's why you can take this message. Once again, it's on you to do it. And you got it out there last time. Blast it out to as many people as possible, because this is literally a defense plan for us as we go through this once again. And it's on you to get that message out. YouTube will definitely not do it. Even the last video that got out massively, it didn't do it. It was you. And I'm so thankful for that, because so many people now are getting the message and they're seeing what's happening, and we're getting this information out. And thank goodness for the inside source, the sheriff. We're going to continue to talk to him. The video I did last time is here. You need to check that out if you didn't, because it links to this and it's highly important. Thank you for all the information that you are giving here as well. Please get the message out, and I thank you all for your support. Hope you're all safe that day. You know, in the last few videos, I left out a few things that the insiders said about the coming events that I told you about. Also, I seen some more drills that was happening as well. But basically, looking into this even deeper here, another part of the aspect that I had left out was I forgot that during the scenario of this biological event, he was saying that in this scenario that they would want to blame Russia if the phase opened to the larger scale of the warfare. But then you could also have the scenario where they just pretend like nothing happened, and we go on with the news media rollouts, which is what we're about to get to, what we need to look for when these events are breaking down, and how we need to be able to respond appropriately to certain things that's happening. Another thing I left out that he was telling me was that they did crowd control training. He said that's normal, but he said they did do crowd control training, obviously with the martial law tactics, during the time of when he was at this Homeland Security meeting. Now, he told me something else that I forgot to put in a video. I was just going back and looking at the notes. I'm like, dang, I forgot that he said that. He was saying that since the solar eclipse is going along the tracking line of the Madrid fault line, he said in the meeting in Homeland Security, this is something that they were looking at really heavily. And is that some other potentiality there that could be happening? I'm not sure. But he said they're tracking that very closely from the level of Homeland Security. So we talked about the checkpoints and stuff like that that would be set up. Now, we're going to talk about specifically what you could look for. And just today, recently, FFA has warned that the air travel, I said travel, no, is travel a word? The air travel. But basically, and I don't know why that's on screen there. I should not even have that on screen. So we're going to try to pull that off. Okay, so that means I can put myself on screen while I'm talking about stuff. So anyway, this is how we're going to play this all out. We'll have that in the background. I guess I'll be right there. And here's the thing right here we're going to do. We're going to look into a lot of these scenarios here with you right now because we need to. And here's what they said here. Federal Aviation Administration is warning travelers and pilots the total eclipse could snarl air traffic, especially at airports located in what is the FAA posted called a special air traffic procedure on this website, and the possible impacts that could be happening. So we're about to get to the other aspects of what's going to be rolling out, but also we want you to see this video clip of them doing a training drill, which wasn't too long ago. This was about, it says, a week ago. Every hour counts. The county prepares for future events. Let's check this out.
Mecklenburg County is preparing so they're ready if there's a disaster, as they have and should. All week, emergency management and other local agencies worked to simulate a mass casualty. It's part of an effort by the Northern Command and the Army to basically get ready for a chemical, biological, or nuclear attack.
Every hour counts. So that's why we continuously exercise and took this opportunity to work here and communicate and coordinate so that we could get here quicker.
The military says these training exercises happen in major cities all across the country.
All right, so as you can see, that was that event there that they trained for. We want to go into, though, you seen how all that happened and they already had laid that out. And just to confirm with you, yeah, that was a week ago. We're going to go into that right now, let you see that article. And then you also see on the screen where somebody tried to fact check me when they didn't make any sense at all about the whole fact check that they was trying to pull. Because when they went into it, you read the article, they go in and say, well, in the video, Jackson makes it seem like the sheriff that he was talking about was the one that was on the video. And obviously everybody knows that wasn't the source. So we contacted the sheriff. We contacted him. And he said, I don't know this man, and I never talked to this man, because I never said I talked to that sheriff that was in the video. And then two, they go in and say, it was a drill from the FBI that Jackson showed in the video, and we called the FBI. And the FBI said, we always do drills like this. This is nothing new. This is normal. Who's going to call the FBI and then believe them anyway in the first place? You're really going to call the FBI and then just be like, oh, okay. Thank you, FBI, for telling me this. Anyway, we want to go deeper into the scenario at hand. So the scenario at hand, we told you that animalistic behavior is what he said we're going to be looking for. Animalistic behavior. On top of that, people was emailing me and saying, what are we going to do? How do I prepare for this event? And they were saying in Caryville, NASA was getting ready to show up with police, and they were blocking off certain areas to the public. So what we want to do is we want to get into that right now. We want to talk about how NASA are blocking off certain areas to the public. What does that mean? Does that mean they're going to be releasing certain things in that area? It's a potentiality that that could be. So moving along here, though, we're going to get into all the different stuff that is going to be hundreds and thousands of people showing up there. We want to talk about first lines of defense. We talked about the bacteria released in the sky during 2017. So something here specific we're going to be looking for. And we're going to be looking for a wave of people to basically start to get really ill. How are we going to look for that, though? Well, we can go into the Marines website, and it kind of tells you how to look for that. Combating chemical and biological weapons of mass destruction. Man, I didn't try to make myself that little on the freaking screen over there. That actually randomly happened. But the information is still going to be valuable here, so stay along with me. While chemical weapon systems can be seen in minutes to hours, biological weapons can take days before symptoms are seen, said U.S. Army Captain Perry Wiseman, a nurse with the U.S. Army Medical Research Institute of Infectious Disease. It's important to be able to recognize any symptoms. And so they talk about biological symptoms and what could happen. So this is what we're going to be looking for. And he did say people were supposedly, the Sheriff Insider I'm talking to, supposed to be seizures and stuff like that. And when I say animalistic, most people say, oh, zombies and stuff like that. I didn't say zombies. I just said animalistic. So, I mean, it could just be crazed behavior. I have no intel that it's going to be freaking zombies. So I know when I say animalistic, I can see how you can think that. But biological, common chemical weapon symptoms can include vomiting, convulsion, skin irritation, headaches, and respiratory difficulty. Biological symptoms tend to present themselves as flu-like, or making it difficult to differentiate between a biological weapon and a common cold. So check it out. If people start to get this happening to them, we're going to be looking at a scenario where the news is going to roll it out like this. Let's go into the scenario right now. This is what we're looking for after the eclipse. They roll out the campaign and they say masses of people are coming to the hospital. There's been this uprising. They're going to promote it as the new pandemic, right? Because it's the perfect time to do that. So check it out right here. What should you look for after this happens? The next day, 2, 3, 4, 5 days right after, we got to be checking that really closely. Watch TV, listen to the radio, check the internet for official news information, including signs and symptoms of the disease, areas in danger, if vaccines are being distributed, where to seek medical attention, they say. Now, also what we want to look at, and how can you defend yourself and protect yourself, which is going to be highly important. We're going to get into that. So if you've been out there and you've been exposed to a biological agent, remove and bag your clothes and personal items. Follow official instructions to dispose and contaminate items. Wash yourself with soap and water. Put on clean clothes. And it says contact authorities and seek medical assistance. I mean, hey, whoa. Because here we go. Now they say, oh yeah, quarantine, because then they can add in that quarantine like reality once you do that. The first thing you should have did in the first place was avoid crowds. It says wash your hands with soap and water frequently. Follow instructions of the doctors and the public health officials. Yeah, that's what they want you to do. Do not share food or utensils, obviously, because you're going to spread the biological agents. So if your symptoms match those described and you are in a group considered at risk, immediately seek emergency medical attention. So you see how this opens up the field for this larger way that they can basically have you under this quarantine scenario. Just however, remember, in Oklahoma, they came out and said we're going to have the elite biological, radiological, nuclear unit. And that's exactly, basically, the scenario that they need you to be in so they can capitalize on this event. Now, we're trying to move into the next part here. And the next part we wanted to talk about was the fact that the first lines of defense that is very important here that we need to be looking at on your body: saliva, tears, it's antibacterial, mucus, stomach acid, good bacteria in stomach, skin prevents injury, mucus linings traps dirt and microbes. So if we're in this scenario and people are out there and they put nothing on their skin, because a lot of the pollution could be stopped by vitamin C. I know a lot of dermatologists say, hey, if you put vitamin C on your skin, it will help and stop so many things that's happening to people's skin right now. But, however, this is not our normal thing. Defense mechanism. The barriers is the physical skin and the mucosa. The skin secretions, digestive enzymes, because that's obviously after it's gotten to your stomach, which you don't want it to get there. Now, I said that I would I said colloid. I'm trying to say colloidal. I would colloidal myself instead of colloidal. I'll colloidal myself with colloidal, which is colloidal silver. And I would do that before I go into any biological area. Now, some people are saying, well, it's going to stick to your skin and it's going to cause you to actually get more ill. I'm not sure about all that, because I've done this before, and I did it during the 2020 times, and I didn't have any of that happen to me. So I'm not saying that I know 100% the fact on that, but I'm saying that that's what I did, because I've seen a lot of the wartime tactics could have been back to that. And the military today could have been totally brainwashed if they're coming out telling me that, oh, colloidal silver is going to stick to you and not be effective against biological agents. I'm just saying, because everything is propaganda tactics here, and they're in control, they're under control of an empire who's weaponizing everything against them too, even poisoning them. I mean, if you would trust the new manuals that's coming out and you think it's 100% accurate, then you're probably brainwashed as a pig. And that's not to be rude, but maybe a pig is even smarter. But anyway, going deeper into it, the cell service is obviously going to be something that's very deep of a concern, so that if you lose cell service, which is going to be very important to have, you should have obviously two-way radios. And here's something I got right here. This Vito model. It's a solar battery. I take this thing with me in a lot of areas. It's called Vito model. It's not expensive. You could use that, and you can charge your phone. You can even put on an air purifier with it, which I think is highly important. So air purifiers is underrated, but HEPA filter ones with activated carbon is going to be a critical aspect in this occultist-like event, which obviously has biblical aspects. Nineveh told Noah to go, not Noah, but Jonah, he went to the city where the people had to repent and stuff like that. I do think a global prayer is important. So I think April 7th which is a sacred number, the number 7, that should be the day that people have, like, they start having live streams against the spiritual attacks that we're about to witness, the spiritual attacks that we're about to face from this oncoming event, and how they're going to be releasing this stuff, which they've already done in 2017, but they're now going into the next phase of the beta test. And it's really going to be something critical. So the Operation Mockingbird is going to be in the media. That's going to start coming out. You're going to start seeing a lot of that on news. So days following, we have to be looking for this, because the wave of sickness is not just going to show up. It's going to slowly seep in. That's how biological stuff works. I hope it don't happen. I hope it's all the animalistic stuff and everything doesn't happen. And I hope that we can avert as much as possible by me giving the information out I'm giving right now. But the devious plans are in place, and we just have to really connect as a community right now. And the way we really connected as a community is when I first got all the insider information out and you started sharing it massively, and now we got a lot more people here, and I appreciate all you in the chat. And the nationwide ballooning project is going to be happening. It's going to be dispersed over lots of communities. It's not just going to be the places, just in the solar eclipse. It's going to be more of that going on here. And let's say we avert this because of the information coming out and they choose not to go fully in. However, it's a huge time for them to take advantage of this moment, because there's going to be so many people here. So this is going to be something they're highly targeting as a pinpoint for their next stepping stone to either leap us right into an emergency or leap us from the emergency that could have been to the pandemic emergency that will be. And I hope you get what I'm saying when I say this to you right now. And remember, they talked about a lot of Ebola in the meeting. That's what was talked about. Brain wasting disease, measles, and COVID. That was the main talks outside of the people who are on the target list. So we got the power on our side. We got the numbers on our side. Question is, we got the spirit, courage, morality to finish this thing and do what's right. I want to thank you for tuning in here today. This was just a preparation video. I hope this helped you prepare in any way possible for these events coming. Remember, on the left hand side of this video, you will see the other videos that are highly important that you have to see before it all goes down. The donation link to help JW TV below. Please let me know what you see on the ground in your area.